welcome everybody on this beautiful spring evening. First of all, we would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Robinson Superior Treaty territory and that the land on which we gather is a traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and the Métis. Can we get approval of the agenda, please? Is there any disclosures of interest? Seeing none and hearing none, there's no delegation. So we'll move into minutes of previous meetings. Resolution 100-22, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Sales, that the minutes of the Council and Committee of the Whole meeting held April 12th, 2022 be accepted as circulated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried. Resolution 101-22, moved by Councillor Stefuric, seconded by Councillor Sales, that the minutes of the special council meeting held April 21st, 2022 be accepted as circulated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried.
That was my first day of COVID.
There's no business rising out of the minutes, no committee of the whole recommendations, accounts for payment. Resolution 102-22, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Sales, that checks issued on the general bank account in the month of April 2022 in the amount of $297,709.96 for general accounts payable be approved and ratified. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried. Resolution 103-22, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Stefuric, that bank debits issued on the general bank account in the month of April 2022 in the amount of $53,342.05 for payroll be approved and ratified. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried. Move into unfinished business, and that's the EDLA performance. Resolution 104-22, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Sales, that the recreation programmer be authorized to sign the performance contract between the Township of Schreiber and EDLA for the hiring of the band to perform July 30th, 2022. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried. So go right in, committee of the whole, and department reports and committee board minutes. So first up, number 1 is budget variance report. Everybody had a chance to take a look at it? Or?
Again, just a variance from last year's budget. Any of the expense categories, you're looking really for negatives in the variance side there to signify anything that's major. That being said, you know, when we're doing this year's budget, we're going to be capturing any of the expenses that have been additional there.
Okay, number 2, Director of Operations report. It's pretty straightforward. Okay. You want to speak to it, Tammy, or anything?
No, I mean,
Good?
it's all there, yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Number 3, Aqua, water and wastewater treatment systems reports for March 2022. Okay, everybody must have done their homework. Number 4, Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks 2021-22 Schreiber Drinking Water System Inspection Report.
So there are a number of things there that Tammy is going to be looking into. We are trying to schedule a meeting with Aqua to just get some additional details for their inspection. Until we get a response and those details from Aqua, we want to see full circle as to, you know, what's causing these issues for the inspection from popping up and how Aqua is addressing it. But we will debrief council once we do determine that. We need to have that meeting first. Is there anything you want to add, Tammy? Or?
No, I'm in the process of following up with everything and getting answers to all the questions.
Yep, exactly.
Is that standard procedure here, like it states unannounced inspection?
Yes.
Yep.
Or is that,
No, that's standard. You never know when they're going to show up.
and it's always that way?
Yep.
Okay.
We had an unannounced visit from the Board of Labor today.
Yeah. Okay, number 5, Community Economic Development Managers Report, the Discovery Center in downtown.
The recommendation here from our Community Economic Development Manager that council approved the budgetary allocation of $6,996.18 for the 2022 Schreiber Discovery Center merchandise. You can see all of the mock-ups for the merchandise towards the appendices of the report. It's going to cost some money up front, but the hope is to recoup that money eventually with the sales of these products.
So we're okay with that
I'm
one?
okay with that.
Doug?
Yep.
Okay, number 6, the Community Economic Development Manager report, the promotional materials.
Great. So first recommendation here, that council approve the budgetary allocation of $3,227.50 plus applicable taxes for the 2022 Schreiber Discovery Center brochure printing, as well as the Doing Business Schreiber booklet printing. Those.
I don't know if that'll be an every year expense, like
Yeah, it's
it could be, like I go into the Terry Fox Lookout up in Thunder Bay, and you see the same booklets that are from previous, you know.
yeah, it can be many years in the past, you know.
Yeah, that the stock here
Yep.
could be plenty for 2-3 years.
I think the goal is to just get the word out there that this landmark exists, and the best way to do it, right, is to get it all in these tourism centers, so everyone who's stopping by and looking at the brochure says, hey, there's something cool there in Schreiber, let's go see it.
Yeah.
So as we come to this, you know, end phase of our community revitalization project, you know, the next part here is to advertise all the investment and hard work we've put into it.
So everybody's okay with that?
Yeah, with both of those recommendations?
Yeah, then the other recommendation there was to approve the budget allocation of $1,280 plus applicable taxes through Superior Distribution for distributing Schreiber and Schreiber Discovery Center brochures between the months of June and September, 4 times within the summer across 113 locations along the Thunder Bay City Route and Highway 11 and 17 East between Wawa, Nipigon, and Longplaque.
So they pick the places where they.
Yep. So this company, so once we do the printing, this company will pick it up from the printing company and distribute it all out.
Sounds good.
Seems quite reasonable, right, for
Yep.
going to all those locations.
And the last Community Economic Development report, the summer hire uniform.
And here's a recommendation. The council approved the budgetary allocation of $264.42 for 2022 uniform shirts for the Schreiber Discovery Center summer hires.
Are we good with that, guys?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea.
Okay. The senior programmer report for March. And the meeting minutes, I guess. We don't have Dan here to talk to it. That meal was the elephant ears and everything went well.
Yeah.
Okay, number 10 then, Recreation and Festival Committee minutes.
Are we gonna get an updated Heritage Days budget breakdown with
Yep, certainly.
possible
You can ask him to do
revenues
that.
and stuff like that? I know we discussed it.
I can ask him to update that.
I guess the other thing there, the committee is thinking about having Canada Day, having a few little events on Canada Day.
Yeah, they want mayor and council to do the barbecue. That's what they're gonna ask us to do.
Oh, no, I've seen that, but yeah, so
Yep.
we'll have to think about that, or you give them an answer.
I think they're talking about the go-kart races on that day too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, right, you're on that committee, Doug, so you guys want, when do you want the answer by?
Our next meeting's next week, but probably first part of June would be good.
Okay, so that ends the committee of the whole, the committee,
Can you, sorry, back to that. Could you ask at their next meeting if they would, instead of mayor and council putting on a barbecue, maybe ask local businesses if they want to provide some food to sell and make money for the businesses?
Yeah, we can do that.
Just an idea. Unless you really want a barbecue. I'm not saying not, like, I don't want a barbecue, but I'd rather a business make some cash than.
well, definitely if they want to, but actually I thought it was, not even thinking of it, I thought it was to be the seniors club. Us barbecuing instead of the
No, I
seniors
know,
club.
but I mean,
But no, I'm okay if the business wants to step up and flip burgers, I'm good with that.
or whatever they want to do. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
So bring that up at your,
Yeah. Meeting next, on the 18th.
yeah, just bring it up and then maybe they can grab, find somebody and
Sure.
if not, Dave will be there.
Yeah. Bells on.
Okay.
Almost later on.
Move into question period and
We have a question this time from Mr. Ray Jeanette. He says, what questions can be asked in question period? How can residents submit questions for council meetings? Can this how-to information be shared at the beginning of all meetings or at the beginning of question periods? That's a good question. So I'd recommend that we do some updates, especially since now we've moved to a mostly online platform for our council meetings. I think the main and best way for people to provide questions would be at the town's general email info@schreiber.ca. They can send it to me directly at clerk@schreiber.ca, CEO@schreiber.ca. Those all come to me anyway. What we're thinking of also doing is actually changing and amending the procedural bylaw to have question period follow after delegations. And this way it will allow people, for instance, to review a council meeting, and if there's any questions that they have, they can bring it forward at the next council meeting. And when they submit any questions to me on that council meeting, which they probably reviewed at home, I'll have staff will have an opportunity to actually review what research we may have to get done. Councillors who these questions pertain to may be able to do some research in terms of determining their answer to these questions. So it allows the opportunity for research by doing it that way. So in other words, by putting the question period right after delegations, questions can be asked for any of the substance that happened during the prior council meeting.
Yeah, that would be a good place to spot it there. early in the program.
Yep. And whenever we get to that section, we can always say, if you have a question, please email it at info@schreiber.ca. In order to do live questions, it's quite challenging because in that way I'd have to make sure there's some way for people to correspond with me directly, and it's difficult to do that while being present at the meeting. It's also quite can be sometimes quite challenging if you have to respond in the sense that I have to do some research in order to answer your question. This way we'll be able to really provide the best opportunity to give proper and full answers to any questions.
Sounds good.
So in order for this to happen, I would need to amend our procedural bylaw. And that being said, there's probably changes also required for our virtual or electronic participation. Initially, they only allowed electronic participation if you were under a declaration of emergency. That's what our procedural bylaw allows right now. I don't know if you'll want to change that or you want to keep that the same. That being said, right, it may be something to discuss. I'm also doing a bit of training for the procedural bylaw and generally meeting rules. This is a training course provided by Fred Dean, so that's going to go on in May and in June. So I'd really suggest that maybe the best time to provide the amended procedural bylaw is probably for any time in June after I finish that training, just in case there's any additional changes that are needed for that procedural bylaw. Is everyone okay with that timeline and all the ideas suggested there? Yep.
Yeah, so you'll bring some forward and then we'll decide if
Yeah.
we're gonna come out of that emergency.
Yep.
Okay.
I think for the meantime now, until I amend the procedural bylaw, we can just, and it's only going to be, like I said, until June, so it may be for about one or two more meetings, but for the meantime, we can just send your email at info@schreiber.ca.
Sure. Okay, that's good then. Okay, we'll move into communications. We're gonna go right to number 12.
Yeah.
And I should suggest we
Match, right?
match what Tearsvay did for us, and for their light up the lighthouse.
That's good.
Also, did everybody see that number 1, Ministry of Infrastructure?
That was a response, I believe, again, to our, we sent correspondence again for our wastewater treatment plant funding, so there was some discussion here about ICIP, and hopefully, I hope they bring an ICIP program that allows funding for wastewater treatment plants. That would be really great. They also talk about how the township has received almost $145,000 in OCIF allocations for this year. So that's some good news that they doubled that OCIF allocation. One thing to keep in mind though is the OCIF allocations only accumulate up to 5 years. So I think this would be our 4th year. So we're going to have to decide very soon where we're going to be spending that money. If we don't spend the money, they will claw it back.
Did you want to look at number 8?
Do you want
something
me to
that,
say anything about it, or
there's something that's
just a
been done in the
request?
past.
Yeah.
Cecile, can you remember?
Not to my recollection.
No.
No.
No? Okay.
Who would be in charge of that?
In what sense are you saying in charge? Like,
Yeah, who's involved? The Thunder Bay District Crime Stoppers? Like, who's,
They're just an entity.
is there a committee?
I would say so.
Is it a city group or, I don't know.
I'm gonna pass. I didn't have anything else. The impacts report didn't say when they'd be putting out new assessments. So
What's that, Dave?
I said, I see impacts annual report hasn't said anything about them
No.
doing their job.
We watched it.
I'm not sure how they filled out an annual report. Anyways,
all right, just to answer your question, to what I could find is Stoppers is a community program that helps people to provide anonymous information about criminal activity, often managed by nonprofit groups or the police. It operates separately from emergency telephone numbers, so it's a not-for-profit, essentially.
And there's lots of reports from DSOP, there's a lot of reports in there.
so next term, talking about DSAD, next term our mayor sits on the board, correct?
I believe we switched with
Yeah.
DSAT and the health unit,
Okay.
Yeah.
so that will be switched up.
I don't think a representative, I don't think it has to be the mayor.
It just always was. Well,
Pardon me?
it was Figgy. And so then it was Jody.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Okay, hearing nothing else on communications. And we'll just go at unfinished business, the 2022 annual AMO conference. Dave has showed interest in going. I can't go.
Nathan's going, right?
I'll have to be there to document anything you need me to document.
I mean, if it happens to go virtual, I can sit in here, but
Mm-hmm. We'll have delegations, correct?
Correct. Now, I don't know if, I think it would be highly unlikely for it to turn into a virtual kind of event with the number of in-person conferences that have gone on, so. They may end up doing hybrid, but they've not indicated anything at this point.
no.
I doubt that.
Where's it at?
It's in Ottawa.
Ottawa.
So there's Dave and Nathan for sure. What did we book? 3? Doug is shaking his head no.
Did we book 3 early bird packages? So that rate ends this
Maybe
Friday.
Dan wants to go.
Friday, correct?
Yes.
I don't know for sure.
Didn't we go to Ottawa? What? 4 years ago.
You're not sure, eh, Doug?
What's
Sure.
I went
Oh, I'm not sure.
every
Okay.
summer.
Well, I went, you and your wife went one time I was there.
I'll just leave it at,
I think that was probably 3 years.
we'll leave it at 3 rooms for now. Next meeting, if there's somebody that doesn't confirm, then we'll knock it down to 2.
Yeah.
Do
You
we have
and
to
Dave.
do the booking this Friday, Cecile?
Oh,
For the early bird reservations?
Okay.
It says that some of the things are sold out too. Registration package A and social pass A are sold out.
Yeah, can't go to the social gala now.
Love me a gala.
okay, so let's see.
Well, there's also delegation requests, right? So, do you have an idea of what you want to talk about for delegation items? I think, again, the biggest ticket items for us is that wastewater treatment plant.
Is
I would be, well, I guess you can't really say which ministers.
yeah, we're not gonna know any of that.
Yeah.
The Minister of Infrastructure.
Is I forget his name. But the
Bill.
pump storage guy.
Bill.
Is he gonna be at?
Yep.
Want to do?
That's
Yeah.
a good one, yeah.
Yeah, you wanna go with the Minister of Energy there,
Energy there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and Minister of Infrastructure, and
Is Impact gonna be there?
Which one was that?
Is Impact gonna be there?
MPAC should be there.
We'll have a
They
booth.
usually have a
I
booth.
know, but
or we figured for sure, I figured for sure Doug would be around Sunday. I had a good conversation with Shelley for a good hour.
Yeah.
Okay then, so that's it, that'll be the end of the meeting, so there's no other business, so resolution 105-22. Moved by Councillor Sale, seconded by Councillor Stapiri, that the meeting now adjourn at 7:33 PM. All those in favor?